Hey, what's up, everybody? Will here from Flow Candy, and today I am breaking down Brian Johnson's Blueprint brand. I've been very interested in breaking down this brand because this is like a totally different brand to break down. If you don't know who Brian Johnson is, he's gotten really famous lately, really in the past 2 years. If you just Google Brian Johnson Blueprint, he's basically, first off, he's a former founder of Braintree, which I think was acquired by PayPal. Um, but he is the founder of this. Really, it was called the Blueprint Protocol. It was this protocol and how he was basically reversing his biological clock. I remember reading some of his stuff he was doing, like his meal plan, nutty pudding, like his skincare routine, his morning routine, evening routine. It was really wild. He was tracking everything. Um, and it was like one of the most like strict lifestyles I had ever seen. But in the past year or two, he's basically started a brand around this protocol called Blueprint. And what's fascinating is it's scaled up pretty well. I mean, just recently, I think midsummer last year. I'm filming this in February 2026, so I think around July 2025, maybe. He raised a bunch of money. I think he raised like $60 million from really like just a laundry list of celebrities. We're talking Kim Kardashian, Paris Hilton, the Winklevoss twins, Naval, Steve Aoki. Um, these are all rumored. I don't. It's all rumored. We don't know for sure, but um, yeah, he's even hired a CEO now. So this brand is kind of taken off here a little bit in the past um, couple quarters, and I'm going to break down really their email marketing today, but go through a little bit about this brand here. I mean, first off, this is a modern tech stack. This is a Shopify Plus store. I think they're using Klaviyo and Attentive, maybe Attentive for SMS, Klaviyo for email. Um, they're using tools like Okendo, tools like Klarna. If you go through the let's see, if you go through the checkout, they're doing all sorts of upselling and stuff. So I mean, this is a very modern sort of supplement store. As you can see, you got the cart bump here, or the pre-cart bump, whatever you want to call it. You add it to cart. Takes you. I don't know if it even added me to cart. I might have found a glitch here. Let's see. Let's add this to cart. Not sure what's going on there, but anyway, let's dive into their actual emails here. So I have all of their emails pulled up, and one of the things that like really fascinates me about this brand is it's not just a supplement brand. Okay, most of the emails are content educational based emails. Actually, this is one of the more content based, educational based brands I've seen in a long time. We're just looking at his December emails here, and I'm going to go in reverse chronological order here. But as you can see, it's a lot of text-based emails. There's just so much he can talk about, just around not only the products themselves, but just his protocols. I mean, there's a reason why, if you go to the site, see Blueprint, right? It's on a actual subdomain. Okay. There's a reason why, because if you go to Brian Johnson, his actual domain, it's more than just the brand. It is, he's got the protocol itself. Let me see if I can pull this up. And if you want to read more about this protocol, oh, it's not working. Hold on. There we go. So first off, he has this sort of, this is the brand, but then there's this Don't Die community, this whole community around this sort of biohacking stuff. And then there's the actual protocol. So if you want to read the protocol, like what I'm actually talking about and how in depth it goes, I'm not going to get into it because there's just so much he talks about, from nutrition to skincare to lifestyle, to exercise, sleep management, stuff like that. There's supplement stacks. There's so much you can read. But you can go to brianjohnson.com. You can check out the protocol to learn more about it. But literally his whole email marketing is just talking about all this stuff. There's so much he can talk about. There's so much educational stuff he can do here, and he hardly ever markets. As you go through these emails, like here, this email right here sent on, I think it was like December 30th, maybe. I think it was the last email. This is like finally like what I would call maybe a social proof email. Here are protocols, and it's more around the protocol. It's not just the brand itself. There is some branding here, but some branded products, but it's not all products. 350,000 people are using Blueprint. Here's the testimonials themselves, and sort of addressing each sort of pillar of Blueprint. We're talking about sleep, energy, mental clarity, skincare. He's breaking down, giving testimonials for each one. And one thing I always say, I love text-based emails just because they're so easy to deploy. You don't need a full-time designer to do this, or literally, now with AI, you could have AI do it. It's crazy how fast you can get these emails built up, skinned up. All this is just, image block here, some sort of divider, and then a text block, and a footer. So it's really quite easy to build these emails. As you can see, none of these emails he sent in December, except this one around the product launch, this omega-3 that I think they launched in December. This is really the only like D2C type of email they did. So really interesting stuff they did in December. And, when you go back and look at all their emails, I think they're averaging about 8 emails a month. Yeah, like newsletters, campaigns a month. And about 11% of them are promotional. So super low promotional ratio. I'm used to breaking down some brands where it's like 70% of their emails are promotional. When I say promotional, I mean like they use, get 25% off, or they use some sort of enticing offer in the email. And when you look at their promotional emails, actually, what I found fascinating, like this is a promotional email here they did in October. They did 3. But if you go back and look at their Black Friday, this is in November, Black Friday, Cyber Monday sort of cadence, there was hardly any sort of promotional stuff going on here. All educational. I think we got maybe one email. This is around Black Friday, and I think this Immortal 25. And then an angle that I have never seen before, I'm calling this retiring products. One of the things about Brian Johnson is some people have been critical about him. I'm not going to get into all the drama around it, but it's hard. There's something interesting about how he has, his brand sends an email out like this: we're retiring products. Typically if you're trying to build a brand, you want to be launching more products. The logic is, okay, if we have 1,000 customers who bought our protein powder, we come out with another protein powder flavor, or a collagen, or some sort of like BCA, whatever it is you in supplements. You can cross sell those products to protein powder buyers, and then therefore that increases your lifetime value. So you see a lot of this. That's sort of the common path to growing a supplement brand. But I love to see that they're actually trimming their product line. So for all the hate he gets, I've heard people say he's just trying to monetize this and blah, 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 blah. It's like, if he was really, really trying to squeeze every penny out of this, he wouldn't be cutting half of his SKUs, cutting things like these foods he's launched. The Nutty Butter, this is one of the core, there's a couple core foods he eats, like, I forget what it's called. There's like this green thing, and then there's just like nutty pudding he eats in the morning. So I found this angle to be very, very interesting around Black Friday. Like, hey, we're not only are we discounting our products this Black Friday, but FYI, like, we're not basically, to me, from a business point of view, it's like we're not doing another production run on any of these products, and when we run out of stock, they're gone forever. So I thought that was really, really cool, and sort of an honest way to kind of run a brand. Outside of that, it's just so much educational emails, and I really love that. Coming to their, I thought that what was interesting was, there's some promotional stuff back in stock, not like a ton of angles, but I would still score them pretty high. As you could see, they're doing text-based, they're doing D2C, so it's a good mix of emails here. What I found interesting in July in particular was this was the most heavy promotional period they had, and it was around Prime Day. And I've seen this before when I've worked with other supplement brands, that they really, really lean into Prime Day, Prime Week, whatever you want to call it. I've heard of one brand owner straight up told me, hey, we drive more revenue on Prime Day or Prime Week or whatever than we actually do during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So I found that fascinating. He's one of the only people that's ever told me that, but seeing this makes sense. And, you're kind of in supplements. They do well on Amazon. So they're really trying to drive traffic to Amazon. Another angle that I thought was really cool was this, Brian Johnson, like I said, he's a little bit controversial. It's not just about the brand. He has this don't die sort of, some people have called it literally a religion. That community, he has the protocol. There was a documentary on him. He's been on a lot of podcasts in sort of the entrepreneurial health space. So he gets a lot of press. And, when you go to the subdomain, BrianJohnson.com literally is getting millions of views a month. Okay. I think it's like 1.5 million views, and it's trending up. Okay. It's not like this is a dying brand. It's going up. And so he gets a lot of press, and, I liked how they use this sort of negative press, and turn it into an email, and I've told this to brands that I've worked with. I've worked with a couple brands now that have, Flow Candy. We've worked with brands where they're distributed in Target or Whole Foods, and they're pretty well known. But we've also worked with some celebrity based brands where they're kind of, the brand is constantly in the news cycle. And if you're watching this, and it's rare that we come across those clients, but if you are watching this and you work for one of those brands, or you're an agency or a freelancer working for one of those brands, or you own one of those brands, this is a great way to turn press into emails. If you're getting a lot of press, you're getting a lot of PR, use it. One of my favorite brands that does this is Breeze, the CBD brand. They're one of the highest benchmarked brands one of the highest brands I've ever benchmarked in terms of email marketing. They just do everything so well. And one thing they do is whenever they get press, they spin it up and turn it into an email. And it's sort of like basically a version of a social proof email. So I liked how they did that. Another thing they do a very good job with product launch. This is, sort of they're coming out with a new product. It's the skincare line, the shampoo line. They sort of blur it out, create a wait list, build a little bit of hype, a little bit of scarcity. another more text-based email, and then finally they launch it in August 1st. They reveal the product. So I loved how they were doing that. Another thing, so that's sort of an advanced email. Another thing they did, if you go and you look at all this, they're doing recipes. There's just so much you can talk about. Here, this is why I love it, because it's like, he's not even talking about products here. There's no product mentioned in this email. Another email, hardly any products. It's just him talking about his protocol, driving people to his site, driving people to brianjohnson.com. And what happens is, people go to brianjohnson.com, they read these blog posts, they read these protocols, and then that sort of builds trust, and then they go to the blueprint. Okay. And so it's a great way to sort of educate, build trust, and not just be so promotional, like, hey, buy my supplements, buy my supplements, buy my supplements. So they're one of the better brands I've seen with this educational stuff. If you are in supplements, and specifically, even better if you have sort of a founder who is very involved in the business, who's sort of a face of the business, or some sort of influencer or celebrity, and it's health related. I mean, this is a great brand to study from an email marketing perspective, just because, you might look at this and you'd be like, whoa, well, like, there's nothing crazy about the design here. And it's not about the designs. It's about the education. It's about the content itself. And then they mix it up, when they do want to launch like travel packs, for example. They also do some promotional. Occasionally you'll see them do some promotional stuff around, like, giving away free bars, giving around free t-shirts, like this Father's Day stuff. They will do a little bit more D2C style, design style type emails. But yeah, I mean, this is really, really good brand. It'll be interesting to see where they go, just because Brian has stepped away, hired a CEO. They have, hired a new CEO, raised a bunch of money. They redid their branding. As you can see, if you look at this email they sent in March, the branding is totally different from what they have now. So, and I actually prefer the new branding. It's very clean, very minimal. But it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I think that, I did a little bit more research on this to see where the brand is going. And, it's more in, the new CEO they hired, I think he had experience at modernhealth.com. So more getting into almost like clinical stuff, almost like bespoke matching of just like sort of bespoke matching supplements to them. It's not just like a pure sort of private label supplement brand. Also, he has a meal service too. So, I mean, there's a lot of things going on. It's not just the brand itself. And that's what I love, about this brand. So this was a fun one. This was a different one. I normally don't get to break down brands where there's not as much promotional stuff going on. There's a lot of different things, a lot of different ways to market than just like using the products themselves. And it's just so deep, because this is such advanced stuff that he's doing. He's really on the cutting edge. So hope you enjoyed this one, and stay tuned, and I will see you guys on the next email breakdown. Thanks again for watching.